Oh my goodness, what has happened to Maya's clothes? Well, this is a texture mod made by Double Trouble, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can make your very own texture edits in Borderlands 2. So let's get learning. Okay, so before we can start our texture modding today, we're going to need to grab the program that allows us to do it. And the program we're going to use is called Texmod, and I've got two links that you can get it from here. Both of them are in the description. One is from Tombraider Hub, and it's here on the right, and one is File Planet, and you've got a big Download Now button. Whichever download you choose, it's the same file. It's actually quite an old program these days, so there are lots of copies of it on the web. Save it to your downloads folder or wherever you want to put it. Now, a word on Texmod, it does sometimes give a virus warning. This is because it is a memory editing tool, and some virus checkers identify it as a Trojan because of that. Now, if this worries you at all, then of course please don't use it. It is your computer. However, if you read around a bit on forums, I'm sure you will come to the conclusion I have, that in fact it is one of those rare occasions where the virus checker is being overly sensitive and has picked up something that isn't actually a problem. But if you're concerned about that, then please don't use it. But do a bit of research if you are concerned. So if we go to the downloads folder, you will come across something that looks a little bit like this. Extract it to a folder of your choice, and you'll find a TextMod exe, probably a config file and a few other folders. But it depends how much work you've done with it. Now, if you have got Steam, you are going to need to copy this program into your Steam directory, which I'm going to do here. My Steam address mine's in my D folder, D drive, but yours might probably be in C. And you need to go to Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Borderlands, Binaries, Win32. Yes, that's quite a load of quite a complicated address. So one more time: Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Borderlands, Binaries, and Win32, and then just paste that exe into here. Mine, I need to copy and replace mine because I've already got it in there, but yours will just pop in just fine. Then, because Steam, when we run the program, when we run Steam, it runs the program directly. We actually need to make Steam run Texmod, and so you've got a bit of a choice here. It doesn't really matter which you choose. We either need to rename Borderlands 2, or we need to rename the launcher and put TextMod in its place. It doesn't really matter, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to do the launcher. So I'm going to click on Launcher, rename it, and I'm just going to call it Launcher 1. And then when I finish doing my texture editing, I can go back and turn it back into just Launcher. And I'm going to rename TextMod, and I'm going to make that Launcher, but without the 1. So now when I click in Steam and I run Borderlands, it's going to run TextMod instead of the launcher. So let's do that now. Play game, preparing to launch, and up pops TextMod. Now what we can see here is we've got three distinct modes: package mode, logging mode, package build. Package mode is for when we actually have our mod ready and we are ready to play with it and enjoy it. Logging mode is when we want to get textures out of the game, so obviously we're going to be doing that in a second. And package build is when we've edited our textures and we're now ready to create a package for us to use in package mode. So each of these three modes has a distinct purpose, but before we can click any of them, we need to tell TextMod to use Borderlands. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to click on the folder there and go and find your Borderlands 2 exe. No, not the launcher, although you can use the launcher, but I'm going to go straight to the Borderlands 2 exe. So, and the nice thing about it is it also remembers the ones that you've set up before. So I'm going to click the Borderlands 2 exe here, and once you've found your own one, you won't need to do that again. We're going to be looking for textures, so I'm going to be clicking on logging mode, and then we've got a few options. Now, there's no kind of wrong way of doing this, but the options do kind of do different things. You need to choose a log button. Where you find a texture, you need to have a button that actually logs that texture. The default is enter, and I'm going to be using F8 because I sometimes find that using enter interferes with the controls that I am using in the game. And I'm going to tick draw control and texture info. I'm going to tick draw texture on upper left corner. I'm going to tick replace texture with a green texture, and I am also going to make it output as a PNG file, because that will include transparency, and I'm going to click this translucent over here, and I'll explain what each of those does once I get in. So let's click the run button and start logging those textures. And here we are inside Borderlands, and hopefully the first thing you've noticed is we've now got a bit of text in the top left-hand corner, which tells us some useful information. First of all, it gives us a reminder of the keys we need, plus and minus, and F8 to save a texture, and it's going to tell us about filtering, which we're going to be talking about in a second. It also gives you the number of loaded textures, and it's a lot. We've got 3,100 at the moment and counting. And as you move around the game, obviously the game will then have to be loading more textures as you come to new areas. But we've got a filter, and now that filter is going to allow us to stop the game from showing us all of the textures around, but just the ones that are kind of currently being used. Now the texture we're going to have a look at is going to be this poster here, the Crimson Raiders poster, because it appears quite a few times in Sanctuary. There's another copy of it out there, and we're going to see that actually just modifying one texture will affect quite a few places in the game. So I'm going to be using the keys on my numpad, and I've got numlock on to make sure that I'm getting the plus and the minus rather than like the numbers and the symbols. And I'm going to press the star button, and what you'll see when I press star now is that it now says filtered 138. So I'm now only going to be scrolling through 138 textures as opposed to the 4,060 that the game currently has in its kind of memory. And I'm now going to start scrolling through them. And if I scroll forward with the plus, you can see that textures are starting to appear across the screen. And here are some of the icons that we use. Top left, at the top there's the blue bar that appears at the bottom of the screen when you're kind of leveling up. We've got just a kind of a shading there that helps the game go from recognising light and dark. My gun's gone green there, which shows that I'm using that particular texture. Because what this does very cleverly, because of the options we chose, is whatever texture I'm currently looking at is going to go bright green. On the screen, so we can see which one is currently active, and they'll disappear as well. Can you see there, if you look on the right hand side of my screen, it says get vehicle, infiltrate bloodshot, but when I actually have that texture active, it vanishes. So I now know that what I'm currently looking at are those letters. So if for some reason I wanted to change the font, I could just save that particular texture there, edit it, put it back, and I could change the font that's being used. But I'm going to stop pressing plus now, and I'm actually going to go backwards, back to 0. And you can see there on the top left it's now 610, now it's 400, going all the way back to 0, because often the textures you need, you'll find, will be at the end of what you're doing. So there's some of the posters, and you can see right here, very obviously that poster's gone bright green. So that poster was one of the ones which I was looking at. Let's carry on. Unfortunately, some of the textures are quite big, and when they are big, they will literally cover your whole screen like that, which can be a bit problematic. But that's why we picked the translucent option from before we ran the game, because it means that it's still slightly see-through, which is going to be useful for us. Here's some more of the posters. We can see here that these ones over here have gone green, so they all come from that particular texture. I'm going to keep scrolling through. We've got some of the Resistance posters there. Let's keep going. Oh, there's the box on the bottom left. Some Sanctuary stuff. A nice little. Oh, there's the tarpaulin. There's the bench. And there we go. There's our Roland texture. And if I look around the room here, we can see that actually all of the Roland posters have gone green, probably including the one outside. There we go. So I know that's definitely the texture that I want to log and I want to edit. So I'm now going to press my logging key, which is, for me, it's F8, but it's enter by default. There isn't like anything on the screen that points out that says yes, that has happened. So you'll just have to trust that it has. And you can get as many textures as you want at this point before you log out. But I would recommend you don't do too many at one time, purely because, as you'll see later, it can get a bit complex. There are, however, some textures and I'll talk about this more a little bit later, that change depending on how close you are to them. So for example, there are some textures that when you get very, very close have a very high quality texture in place, but some when you move away it then goes to like a medium texture and then to a low quality texture. This particular poster doesn't do that, so we just need the one poster, but you might notice earlier that this particular poster here did actually went green and then stopped going green. That means it was then using a different texture. By the way, and if you actually want to move area, look at something else and search again, you then need to filter again. I can clear the filter by pressing the backward slash which is above my number pad, and as you can see now it says filtered 0, which means I'm now looking at 5,000 textures, and then if I get myself in a new area, a new place where I want to try and find some textures, I can then again filter again and can then scroll through as I did before with only 148 to worry about. There's the roof, for example, rather than the 5,000 to scroll through, which would take a very, very long time. So let's exit out of Borderlands, open up our graphics program, and see what we have got. So here we are back out of the game. And if we go to your TextMod folder, you should find you have a folder called Out. But however, it does depend where you actually told TextMod to send your log. So if I just show you TextMod again in your logging mode, there was an option here called Output Folder. The textures that you have just exported will be in whatever folder you have chosen there. Mine happens to be in my Downloads folder, but you can stick yours wherever you want by just changing it over here. So here I am, and I'm going into my Out folder, and you'll see the textures that you have exported and a file probably called textmod.log. This file is important, so don't delete it, and if I open it up you'll see I've actually got the texture named, and I've also got a memory address. Now this is going to be useful because this is going to tell TextMod which texture to replace when we actually package it back up. Now what this means is you only actually want to have in this folder the kind of all the textures that you actually want to use for this particular modification. So what I've done is I've changed folder every time I've kind of done a new job. So for example, here's a claptrap I've been working on with its own texture mod, and here's some other files that I've exported for various ideas. So I would suggest you try and making a different folder here in the output folder every time you have a new idea, because it'll help you organize it a lot better. So let's open up this folder in our photo editing program. I'm using GIMP because I can't afford Photoshop, but I'm sure your photo skills will be far better than mine. And note here that we actually have more than one texture. Now most textures in the game do contain more than you might want to edit, so we need to, if we just want to change this one poster, we need to make sure we are localizing our edits here. Now I'm just going to do a very, very simple and silly edit to prove a point here, and I've done it already. I'm just going to put in a cheesy adipose background. The adipose wants you with the symbol copied from below here. Very, 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 very simple stuff. Please don't hate me for it, and I'm sure you can do far better. But I just want to kind of show you how this works. And then we need to save it, and we need to save it exactly over the original file that we have edited it from. Now in GIMP that actually means I need to export, I believe, as the PNG that we came from, and it's going to overwrite that original file. So if you want to save that file, I should probably copy it out and make a copy somewhere before I actually overwrite it, but I do need to overwrite it before I make the package. So I'm going to export over that PNG. Yes, I want to replace it. Yes, all the defaults, thank you very much, GIMP. And I have now got in that out folder my modified texture file and my TextMod. And then back to TextMod we go, and this time we're going to build our package. So I'm going into package build. I need to tell it which log file to use here. So this is going to be this TextMod in my out folder, and I'm going to browse. So in my particular case it's going to be in that TextMod folder in that out, and I'm going to click textmod.log. Click open, and I can fill in a few bits of extra information if I want. So who created this? Well, I did, the adipose. I can put a comment, anything you want, or you can leave it blank, but this is going to be my awesome adiposter, and I'm going to click build. and then it's going to ask me where do I want to put this wonderful creation of mine. So I am going to put it again back into my downloads folder, and I'm going to stick it in this Skimpy Mayor folder, which is one of Double Trouble's excellent mods from in Borderlands, and I'm going to call this the Adiposter, and it will automatically make it a TPF. So that is now ready to go. If I want to test it, I need to again go to package mode and choose that folder I just made. And the nice thing is it's already actually put that in the options for me, because I just created it in package build. So if I select it there, I can click on it, I can see it's made by me, awesome Adiposter, and then when I'm ready, hit run, and we'll see how it looks in the game. And here we are back in Sanctuary with our newly modified Roland posters, and note that it has replaced every time that particular texture is used, including outside. And the game itself, because it has lots of kind of gravelly textures kind of going on, it's automatically kind of added a bit of dust to it, so you can see it's not quite as bright as it was when I originally kind of designed it. So it's ready to go. I have replaced a texture in the game, and with that in mind, really the sky is literally the limit. You can export the sky and modify that. You can export the walls and modify that. You can export characters and modify their skins. You can export all the objects. Where it starts to get complicated is guns, what I'm currently holding here, because guns are actually made up of several different textures as well as some colour modifications. So that will be a trickier one to work with, but it is certainly possible. There's another version of the poster there, beautiful. There are also bump maps and like shader maps that you can export as well, which is certainly a lot more relevant to characters than just posters. And I'm going to be discussing how to modify characters in part 2 of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have learned something or found it entertaining, and I would love you to give the video a like to encourage to let me know that to continue this series. Please subscribe if you want to make sure that you see part 2 and any other tutorials that I make for Borderlands and other games, and I will see you soon. Take care.